Welcome to the Honest Dog Breeder Podcast with me, your host, Julie Swan, where each week we dive in to discuss all things dog breeding so you can build a breeding business you love, producing dogs that fulfill their owners' dreams. I believe you can have an honest dog breeding program that also pays the bills. So throw those pods in your ears while you're cleaning kennels. I'd love to join you. Welcome back to 12 Days of Breeders. Today we have Natalie Thurman of Apex Anatolians in Frenchtown, Montana. Natalie is the president of the Anatolian Shepherd Dog Club of America. Natalie, thanks so much for taking the time and being here with us today.
Yeah, you're welcome, Julie. Thanks for having me.
So fun. I know you've done so much, so you've got to tell us.
Yeah,
You're in bear country. Your dogs are pretty incredible.
thank
Can you
you.
just share a little bit of what your dogs do, what they're bred for, just so people understand?
Sure. Sure. So traditionally, the Anatolian Shepherd comes from Turkey and Turkey adjacent lands, and they have been raised for thousands of years, literally by shepherds to live with and protect their sheep, goats, and families. So you're looking at like free-ranging flocks on a mountainside all summer. The dogs are
Oh,
just interspersed with the flock, and if anything comes sniffing around to have a quick meal, the dogs step up and say, "That's a really bad plan, Jack." So
yeah.
that's what they still do today. There are many people who have them in pet homes or family guardian homes, but our dogs live with, we have kuni pigs and hair sheep and fainting goats and poultry and rabbits, but the rabbits are in cages. So
Yeah.
except for when the kids leave a gate open, which is
Oh, yeah.
their story. But yeah, they work with a mix, I call it just a mixed herd of nonsense. And they live outside primarily if they are injured or sick or whelping. They're inside, but otherwise they're outside.
Yeah, and they like being outside. Like I have a livestock guardian dog cross, and I remember I brought him inside one time and he was like, "Oh, the sky's falling in." Like he was
Like, where
so
did the sky go? Where is it, mother? Yeah,
I know. He's like,
it's
"Oh,
very
okay. He's
concerning.
an outside dog." Yeah. So yeah, they're so fantastic. But before you got into Anatolians, can you just give us the rundown how you got started? Because you worked with a kind of a rare breed, and just give us your background. Where did this all
Yeah.
come from?
Yeah. So I moved to Montana in 2010 with 11 registered Nigerian dwarf goats, and they were like up to $400 a piece, which when you're 22 is a lot of money.
That was great.
Sometimes when you're older than that, that's a lot of it. But when I was like, that was all my money, basically, it was tied up in these goats. And I moved to Montana and I was like, oh no, everything wants to eat them because goats are just like ringing a dinner bell here. Chickens
Yeah.
and goats, they will draw every single predator. So the day I moved in, I went and picked up a puppy from Idaho. He was turned out like 7/8 Anatolian and a little skosh of Great Pyrenees. He looked like an Anatolian, so it made sense in the end. But
Mhm.
as a little tiny puppy, like he alerted to a bear in the yard that went after my buck, and it was a whole thing. And I chased the bear off with a sword. It was great. That's a story for another time, probably. Because we don't want to look too crazy, right? But yeah, so I started out with one, and then one was clearly not enough. When you have a large apex predator load, asking a single dog to guard 11, 30, 50 animals alone when the predator is usually not alone or way bigger than them, not super fair. So, after getting a loner dog for fall and spring one year, then we brought in an adult to match him. And all the neighbors saw the dogs outside and were like, "Oh, that's so neat." And it was like novelty because it was not a thing in 2012 here to have
Sure.
like outdoor dogs that actually like
Mhm.
worked. It was just like running amok outdoor dogs that were the thing
Right.
here.
There's dogs, yeah.
So they're like, "Oh wow, I'd love to have one to keep it like, the wolves out of my granddaughter's play yard and like that kind of stuff."
Mhm.
So we had like a pretty big demand. So I started breeding back then, and then he got injured. Um, we raised Tibetan yaks at the time,
Mhm.
and a gate got left open because we never had him in with the yaks
Sure.
because they don't like dogs.
And the Tibetan, yeah, they're like what kind of size?
They're about like 800-pound cow and like 1,000 to 1,200-pound bull. Not huge.
Oh,
Like that is
but
actually very
not
small.
small.
Well, it's small compared to like an Angus. Like an Angus bull, you're looking at like 2,000 pounds, and a
Okay.
cow can be like 15 to 17, I think. So they ate like a third of the hay of normal cows, which is great. And they looked different than cows. So people would like stop on the road and like just take pictures. And it was interesting for sure. They still stop on my road and take pictures, but for different reasons now. So yeah, so one of the acts actually hit him. And he got paralyzed in the rear. And we did a lot of rehab and stuff, and just he did not heal, and he was done. He told us he was done. So we let
Yeah.
him go, and then I was in a position where I needed a lead male.
Sure.
And it's not super easy to come by a trained trainer dog who will raise puppies up the right way. And so I was able
Tell
to
us,
find one.
yeah,
Yeah.
tell us a little about how this trainer dog works. I think it's a little bit unusual for most breeders.
Yeah, so whereas like with pet dogs, I feel like if you have an established pet dog who knows that we sit before going out of the door, or we don't bark through the window, or we don't jump on people, like a puppy that you bring into that house will kind of learn that stuff through osmosis just
Hmm.
by being like, well, the big dogs don't do that, so I don't do that.
Yeah.
Not that a new puppy doesn't need training, obviously, but like they can learn a lot without active human input.
Yeah.
Um, Whereas a lot of livestock guardian dogs, people kind of assume like, oh, it's an LGD. Like I can just throw this 6-week-old puppy in with my sheep and he will figure it out because he has instincts. Not so much. Yes, he has instincts, but he's gonna be in a like fight or flight mode in that
Yeah.
situation with no one to protect him. It does not help him build trust with that flock, and it does not help him build trust with you. And a
Mhm.
lot of people who do that hands-off type method end up with a 100+ pound feral dog in with their sheep.
Oh, wow.
And that's not a safe thing to have.
Mm-mm.
Not liability, not medically, like it's just not safe.
It's probably,
Um,
is it dangerous for the sheep and people and like
if they
everything?
bond up
Or-
with the sheep, no, because that dog will die for them. But any human approaching, including your staff or yourself,
Mhm.
you're in trouble. And also, if that, I mean, these are working dogs who are going up against very large predators or groups of predators, even if it's like just a coyote, you're not having a coyote, you're having seven, right? So injuries are a thing that
Yeah.
happen. And living outdoors, you can get pneumonia, you can get things that any pet dog can get.
Mhm.
And it is your responsibility as the human involved to vet them properly and help them out and get them better.
Yeah.
You can't do that on a dog you can't touch. You have to trank them when they're already compromised. That can kill them.
Yeah.
Like so
And just, yeah. So just spend the time. So the trainer dog comes in.
a trainer
What
dog
then?
is a dog that will actually appropriately correct a puppy and
Yeah.
help you a lot with the time and you put into a puppy. It basically, when you have a dog who will gently but firmly direct a puppy that you bring into a working farm situation, that allows you to actually go do other things with your life other than supervising the puppy or locking the puppy down when you aren't there.
Okay.
The biggest thing with these guys is just preventing them establishing those self-rewarding bad behaviors like chasing a chicken, like chewing on a goat's leg, or pulling wool. These are things that like puppies will do because they are puppies, not because they are
Oh,
bad or
sure.
genetically jacked up or poorly
Mhm.
bred. It's fun. It's just like a teenager.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, they make bad choices sometimes, and that doesn't mean they're a bad kid. It means that you weren't supervising and setting them up for success. Like that's on you as a parent, or me
Sure.
in this case. So same thing. Like it's just that responsibility can slide to a dog who is willing. Not every dog is a good trainer. Not every pet dog is good with puppies, and not
Yeah.
every working dog is good with puppies. Including like mothers. Everyone's like, "Oh, the mother will train them." Some moms are real mean, like me. But dog wise, like they will overcorrect and scar that puppy. Like that puppy will be scared now to go
Oh,
near a
okay.
chicken or a
That
sheep.
makes sense. So it does make it makes it a lot.
It's
It's
a
just
big
very
difference.
important to get the right dog. So you didn't just lose like your male, you
Yeah.
lost like your trainer and all this stuff. So you
Yeah.
were breeding at this point?
Yeah, I had my second litter on the ground when he
Okay.
got injured.
Was he the stud?
He was, yep. And
Okay.
he was great. I have lots of pictures
Oh,
still of him with like his little puppies and they're just adorable.
yeah.
He
This
was
was a
very
pretty
kind.
big loss when this incident happened.
It was pretty catastrophic. Yeah, yeah. And I was just getting started. It wasn't like I had a lot of money in the game, but it
Yeah.
was a lot of time. Like I trained him from scratch. I trained him up the way I wanted him to be, and then I added an adult female. And it like, you know, it was a lot of managerial stuff that went into that. And then like also emotionally, like that was my baby. I didn't have
Mm.
kids when I got him. I had kids at this point when he got injured, but like that was my first little ranch baby, and it was devastating in a lot of ways. So
I imagine.
I was in a position with a mom who was not a trainer dog. She was too harsh with the puppies. So if she was out with stock, she needed somebody else there to mediate, me or another dog, to be like, go lay down. I got this.
Yeah.
And so when Dirks was gone, I had kind of no options that were obvious, and I put out feelers. There were still message boards back then. And like, yeah, it's a thing. Like
Wow.
2015, 10 years
Oh,
ago
like
was a
the
different
internet
world.
forums, right? Yes.
Yeah, it was for
Wow.
sure. It was a different world.
Yeah. I know my kids are like, you what? Yeah.
Yeah. So no, so it was good. I was able to connect with a breeder of Sharplana, which I will spell for you for the
We will
show
put that in
notes.
there. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And it's also a livestock guardian dog breed, obviously from former Yugoslavia, so Serbia, Macedonia,
Okay.
modern, and huge, like Great Pyrenees plus hair, like very very fuzzy. Mostly the working dogs on the mountain there are not that fuzzy, but the show ones are very fluffy.
Okay.
And so I was able to get their pick male. The breeder had kept the whole litter through 18 months, and I was able to go and meet them all and be like, I think he's the choice based on
Mhm.
like asking questions. I'm like, okay, well, I need him. So we brought him home, and that was good.
Yeah.
He did it great. And then
What?
we lost him at the same age. So he also passed away at 5. He had inhaled cheatgrass seeds at the breeder's house into his lungs and developed, this is like a side note, but he had developed scar tissue like a pearl in a oyster. His lung had formed scar tissue around and around and around and around, multiple seeds in
Wow.
his lungs. And eventually they just kept building over time.
Yeah.
And eventually it was like actually restricting his breathing, and we got him into the vet, and we thought it was cancer, and then it wasn't cancer, and then one of them burst, and that wasn't a fixable problem. And he was at the vet for a recheck when that happened. I thought he was
Oh.
having a seizure, but he was bleeding out through his lung into his chest cavity. So two
Mm.
traumatic male losses like right off the bat was pretty rough.
Can you
But
why you went with that breed? Like what did you love about him? What did you find out?
they're super effective here. If you have
Okay.
large apex predators, they're more sharp, which is more abandoned and willing to go get in the fray of something.
Oh,
One of my females that I imported from Europe literally got in it with a cougar and got scratched down her back, and it got infected because cats are gross. But
yeah.
an Anatolian, I think, has a little bit more sense than grit in that way. I have not had the dogs get like into like under a cougar that I've
Okay.
seen,
Yeah.
or get like basically ripped apart.
So
They,
they're not going to continue that. They're just going until they can mitigate
yeah,
the threat and then they'll pull away. Whereas your other
the
ones,
Shars really went for it.
yeah, they would just be like, let's
They
just
kind of
finish
wanted to
this
fight a
whole
little,
thing.
which I
Okay.
it's not it works in a certain setting.
Sure.
That setting is not 10 acres around neighbors, uh,
Okay. Makes
where
sense.
they would run a bear for 5 miles and then get into it on somebody else's property,
Oh,
maybe in their
sure.
cattle. So like that's kind of like not ideal, but it's also just a very like a sharper temperament breed. So
Mm.
those are the dogs you go outside and you're like, hey, come here, and they like make hard eye contact with you, and they're like, I see you, I hear you, and no, I'm gonna do it even harder. And then they just like turn around and prance off into the sunset. Not a lot of Americans can tolerate that kind of temperament in a dog. And that's not like an indictment of us. It's just facts.
Fair.
um, they
Hmm.
work very well on range. They're very good. And like I have friends in Canada who run them, and they're very successful in lower numbers sometimes than you'd think against real legitimate wolf packs and bears.
Wow.
Um, and that's because they will cash that check. And it came to a point where basically I had like, I had imported 2 bitches from Macedonia. I had my male. I was
Yeah.
getting going. I was having litters. I, was selling them to people for either work or potential breeding homes and like vetting that way. There were very few homes that were actually appropriate for that breed.
Mm, okay.
And as a breeder, I think that is part of our responsibility to just at least be aware of, even if it's not going to change your mind about things, just
Mhm.
knowing the score and knowing that like 90% plus of people should never own one of
Yeah,
these.
that makes sense.
It's a big burden on a person who's trying to be responsible about placements.
Yeah.
So that was part of it, but also there's a very small group of people in the US and Canada, like North America, period, who have this breed who actually consider temperament and hip scores in their breeding decisions.
Yeah, it's a little bit more
Um,
the old school farmer mentality with the breed, right? Is that
yeah, it's
kind
a
of the
lot, a
idea?
whole lot of if there was a problem, I'd see it, and I don't see a problem, and my vet said that his heart sounds good, so we can breed.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Which is a choice. I mean, and obviously the people of that mindset are cheaper for a puppy, getting a puppy from than I was. So they were having no problem pumping out puppies and sending them out. And then I was getting phone calls because they wouldn't answer the phone anymore for those people. Like, oh, my dog bit me. What do I do? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like, I don't know your name. Like, who are you? And they're like, oh,
Yeah,
it's not from you. I'm like, perfect.
great.
It's still a problem, so I will still help you. But yeah, just there the breed was going in a direction that I did not like and want to participate in, even
Okay.
with like the on the better side of it,
Yeah.
because I
Your
knew people
values
would
were
take
just different. Hmm.
yeah, I knew people would take one of my puppies potentially and breed to one of those. And then
Yeah.
we've got a conglomeration of not great traits coming through and just not great. And I
Mhm.
couldn't get a puppy from the good bunch that are they're all legit ranchers who are not dog breeders professionally, and they would have a litter every 1, 2, 3 years, and they just had a wait list and they would go in order because that's what they told people they would do, which is fine. That's their choice as a breeder. You're
Mhm.
allowed to make your choices, but no one would bump me up as a breeding prospect person. So I was unable to get a female for my progeny male that I had kept back and health tested above and beyond, I think, any other
Ah,
char. So that was really frustrating. And then
yeah.
we had a lot of people just breeding and telling people that outward aggression and like unnecessary aggression was a breed trait. They would just like, anytime anyone could complain about something, they're like, oh, that's a breed trait, which I don't agree with. And I'm like, if only there was an authority that could tell people, no, no, like a stable
Yeah,
temperament is still important, especially with a dog of this size.
sure.
Um, so I recommended to the, the people that
Hmm.
I knew and trusted. I was like, I really think we should have a breed club. And I
Yeah,
was like, I don't want to be the president of it. I think you, lady in Canada, should be the president. But
yeah,
I'm like, I'm happy to help. I'm happy to get documents together. And it was a resounding no, thank you from the group.
and
They
yeah.
um
What was the reasoning?
they all have like working border collies, so they have experience in like basically, and they're it doesn't mean that they're wrong. It's just not how I see it. They think that registries, breed clubs, and specifically like the AKC have ruined that breed that they love and
Okay.
work every day. So they were like, no, no, no. I like being able to do what I'm gonna do. And I'm like, yeah, but see, you're doing the right things. You're health testing and you're not breeding the dog that will haul off and bite someone for no reason at all. Whereas other people are not doing those things and they're like, well, I don't want to have to tell people what to do. I was like, okay. I'm like, I can't continue in this breed because I don't have anywhere to go with my mail from my two original dogs. And I
Yeah.
have nothing unrelated that I can breed to. And I'm not going to breed back because that's too close. And
Mhm.
I'm not going to import more because of like the more like political, like social issues than the actual dogs themselves, honestly. It's importing dogs is rough. Language barriers and logistics and not hearing about your dogs for 7 days while they're getting like taken out of the country they're from. It's not
Yeah.
ideal. It's not great.
Oh, that's weird.
I didn't
Yeah.
want to do it again. I was just like, I'm not up for it. So, yeah, I hit a wall. And so that's when I was like, well, if no one's gonna like, move forward with this with me, I think I need to go back to the original breed that I wanted in the first place, which was Anatolian Shepherds.
Yeah.
And so I was able to get a very, very nice one from my mentor in Southern
Mhm.
California. And from there, I've built a program since 2019, so 6 years, a little over 6 years now that I've had just AKC Anatolians. And
Mhm.
Yeah, it's going well.
Mhm. No, it seems like it. It seems like it. So has it been easier to manage the Anatolians all in all? Like, does it feel more appropriate for you?
Yeah, yeah, we gel a lot better. The Shars, I think their temperament is more akin to my husband's, who is not the person who's gonna be running a dog
Well, we
program.
know why you love them. So there you go.
I love them a lot, and we gel. We're very complimentary, but it's just like, it's a different critter than I like
Yeah,
my
and I
heart
think from even
dogs.
just the marketing, right? The marketing
It
perspective
was a
is
nightmare.
it's
Yeah,
yes, exactly. Plus
yeah.
bloodlines and keeping the diversity and then feeling like you're pulled with the integrity you want to maintain and then being undercut by people who you don't really agree with. And everybody can do what they want to do, right? But
It was just I came to a point where I'm like, I'm not independently wealthy. I can't do this alone. I don't have unlimited time. I have small children. It
yeah,
just became like a weighing pros and cons, and the cons just won out, unfortunately, with the
I
Shars.
think
And I
it's an important decision to make from, I mean, just in a business decision. Yeah. And like you said,
Yeah.
I mean, you have a lot, 10 acres is not little,
Here it
but,
is.
but
Here
it
they're like, oh,
is
that's a backyard. It's
right. But like,
all
it's
relative.
different, right? Yeah, exactly. So,
Yeah, there's
I
definitely
think,
work to do here. We are between a like Forest Service mountain and a year-round creek, which any other state would be a river.
mhm,
And so we've got the traffic of wildlife coming through. We've got
yeah,
cougars. We're in territory for multiple cougars. We have grizz, like this guy.
yeah,
We have them here. They're actually officially documented now because they showed up on a ring cam a few years ago.
really.
But we've had them for over 5 years, like that I've seen them. Yeah, and they don't bother my stuff. Everyone's all like super concerned about wolves and bears, and I'm like, it's the cougars that are the problem. So,
They are
um,
just so effective
they're
when they want to
ninjas.
be.
You won't know that
Mhm.
they're there
Yeah. Yeah,
until
they're
it's too
very
late,
scary.
even as an adult. And when you have human children, that's really bad. But the dogs, nothing irks a dog quite like a big cat.
Ooh, they
They
have a special
roar.
sense for them.
They hate it. Nothing gets their goat quite like a cougar or even a
Ah,
bobcat, honestly. They just hate
mhm.
big cats.
I think it's just like the cat and dog, like
Yeah.
protected cats and dogs at each other's
And
throats.
my dogs we have barn cats and they know the difference. Like they can tell. And they're like,
Okay.
you want to eat my stuff. Go
Yeah.
away. But they get very upset. Obviously with any predator, but they have a different bark for and like it's like a roar. It's like a guttural roar they
Ooh.
do for the cats. And then I'm like, uh-oh. That's the only thing that makes me say uh-oh here now with like
Oh.
running 8 dogs.
Can you like how frequently are you running into predators? Like
Not very often. I think the
that's
mark of
normal.
like how you know that your LGDs are like numbered up enough, like you have enough of them to do the job where you
Yeah.
are, is that nothing kind of ever happens.
Mhm.
There's barking half of the nights, but that is literally them just saying, "Hey, I'm here. If you come here, there's going to be trouble. Just stay away from here." If they sense anything moving in the night, so
Got it.
um, it's very effective. They are communicating with predators as a predator.
Hmm.
Predators are territorial by nature, and the wild ones are very opportunistic. And if you
Sure.
have the option of an unattended chicken coop a mile down the road, or my pasture with like 5 dogs in it,
Yeah.
the coop down the road looks choice, right? Like sorry neighbor Bob, but it's gonna be your chickens. It's not gonna be my
Yeah.
sheep tonight.
Yeah.
Um,
That makes sense.
yeah, but they're very effective. These dogs, they are not. There's lots of videos I think on like Facebook and other places where it's like they're fighting or they're fence fighting or and that is a thing overseas. And I do not begrudge people overseas for how they handle their animals differently than we do here,
Hmm.
because it goes nowhere good. And we've already taken their dogs. We should just let them have what they're gonna have.
Fair
That is
enough.
a big way they prove they're breeding males overseas, is
Oh.
not necessarily like actually fighting, but like fence fighting. So like getting them to like bravado up at each other, and post up at a fence.
Yeah.
It makes them feel like they have the baddest, biggest dog, and it makes them feel good. And I'm like, good for you. That's fine. My dogs will actually go fight bears off, and that's how I know I have good dogs. We all have different strokes.
Right? Exactly. Exactly. All right. So you were actually featured in the New York Times about your dogs and their effectiveness towards bears. Is that right?
Yeah, grizzly bears specifically.
How did that start?
I got an email from the reporter, and I thought it was fake because like
Yeah.
That's not a thing that happens to real people, right? Especially not me. So, but then he like gave his name and he like was like, you can look me up at the end. And I was like, will do, sir. Will do. So I looked him up and he actually is like a frequent, not staff, but like freelance writer for the New York Times for like biology related things.
Oh,
So I was
okay.
like, okay, so maybe you are legit. We'll go
Huh.
from there.
And he's real now, so it's not like too creepy, except for
Yeah.
the your house, which may be creepy. But what? So what was the article actually about?
So the article was about the fact that grizzly bears are rapidly increasing in number in Montana specifically, and it was kind of a people-focused article on how Montanans are adapting to that to like live with the bears.
Yeah.
Because you can't just do what you've always done and expect success with these huge apex predators.
Because they're new more to the area, right? Like they
They're
you can have them
in
that.
human intense areas. Yeah, they were hunted back like and like literally they used to be on plains, but they got hunted out of them and like driven into the Forest Service in the mountains and stuff.
Wow.
So now there's enough of them where they are like they're spreading because they will not stay together. They're not staying in a pack like a wolf.
Sure.
They're
They
claiming
go
their
their
own
own.
territory and
Yeah.
spreading out in the world. And in that spread, there are people, there are children, there are pets, there are livestock and grain fields and berry farms and orchards. And how are people, because you can't shoot them,
Right.
how are people dealing with this? And just like a black bear, like electricity is proving pretty effective because they do lead with their nose and their nose is wet like a dog. So
Okay.
they touch an electric fence, they're going the other way.
Mhm.
That's how we protect orchards here. Like straight up, it's a lot of electric fencing, and it's actually not that expensive. And there's grants. So if you're in Montana, you can email me, and I can hook you up on grant info to get electric fence on your livestock or like produce
That's
with through the state. They pay for a lot of it, so it's great. But their goal, of course, in that grant process is saving the bears from being habituated and seeing
got it.
people-centric areas as food stores,
Yeah.
which they are. We are food sources when we don't do our job to
Yeah.
mitigate and keep them out of it. So, yeah, the article, it was good. Our local bear manager from Fish, Wildlife, and Parks was there in the article, and there was a couple other people, but he did a good amount of the article, shockingly, was like pictures of the dogs and me with the dogs and just like talking about how like these dogs can actually work. And I think that is PR that you cannot buy, right?
Yeah.
So going from like I think I'm doing the right things. I'm doing what I need to do, and I have a breeding program. And this is not actually how I make my living. I own a construction company, so I breed because I want to and because I understand there's a need for these dogs.
Yeah.
Which I know, Julie, is it's not your way, but it's my way.
No,
And it's
no,
fine.
it's fine.
But I still love it, and I'm very dedicated to it. I am much more passionate about these dogs than I am about gravel and excavation and septic systems. But they pay the bills, so thank
Right.
you. But with the dogs, that's a lot of attention and eyeballs on your breeding program
Mm-hmm.
overnight.
Mm-hmm.
I got a lot of phone calls and a lot of text messages and a ton of emails, good and bad. It wasn't all good. But it was majorly good. People were like, "Wow, that's really cool. The dogs work. Like, I'm so glad." Some people were like, "Can I come see the dogs?" And I'm like, "Yes, but just so you know, I am here, and the dogs don't tolerate nonsense, and I carry." And that
Yeah.
weeded out a bunch of, people who didn't want to come with me with a gun strapped to my hip. Um, but the problem that came from that article, which I think is kind of important for people to like breeders to understand, like just like when you go viral probably on social media, which I have not done because I am bad at it, I guess. When you get a lot of attention all at once, it comes with other things that you were maybe not anticipating. And my
Yeah.
thing that the New York Times article came with was stud dog requests for Aries, who is my big brindle male,
Oh,
who featured heavily in the article and like was the image on the New York Times email that went out to all their subscribers that morning. It
wow.
was his face. that was in the email. And so of course people are like, what is that? Like very like not clickbaity, but like it got people to open that email, right? Like the email preview is like this big beautiful dog and they're like, oh, what is that? Montana. I love Montana. Even though I've never been, right? So I had no fewer than 20 stud dog requests in a week and a
Wow.
half.
Wow.
Yes, wow. Also, yikes, right? These were not bad people. They were like, oh my God, he's beautiful. I want a piece of that, basically. They wanted me to breed their Border Collie, their Great Pyrenees, their crossbred, working LGD at least. Their Cane Corso bitch. They're like, yeah,
Wow.
because he's just stunning, or the photos were just stunning. They're like, I want that. And they saw pictures of him and his clone puppies. Like he has other puppies that don't look just like him, but the clone puppy, of course, is the one that was in the article. So they're like, he reproduces himself. Like, I just want a clone of this dog. And I'm like, that's not how heterozygous brindle works, but whatever. So I hit a crossroads right then and there.
Yeah.
And my husband did not agree with my decision. I will say that up front. I neutered him. Yep. Because my address is listed on uh, Google. I have a Google profile because what are they going to do? I have dogs here. What I had not considered when I did that, and even if I take it down now, it's already out there, so I'm not taking it down. It's fine. If you want to come to my house, call first for best results. But somebody could literally bring in heat bitch to my house
Right.
and breed with him without my being here.
Mm.
I did not want that. Um, so I just responded blanket to everybody like, I'm so sorry he's not available. But thank you. And that killed it. It was fine. But what I wasn't gonna do was lie to everybody
Mm.
and say he's not available when he really was, because that's shit. And what I really wasn't gonna do is tell them why I wasn't gonna be willing to breed to their, whatever.
Yeah.
Um, because again, it would not have been kind. It would have been critical, unsolicited advice. They didn't ask me what I thought of their girl. They asked me to breed my male to her. So it would not have been nice how it would have come out, or at least how it would have come across. I would have tried to be nice, but it wouldn't have come across that way. So I decided to take the path of least resistance, which was a correct ethical choice, I feel, but it was a business choice because then I didn't have an intact male on site
Yeah.
for 2.5 years.
Oh no.
So that started like a
Hmm.
cascade of outside breedings that either failed or were like one or two puppies and C-sections and just a mess business wise. Like, so it's damn good that I was not doing this for a living at that time. I
Yeah.
still would do it again tomorrow if it happened again, right? Because I just like I like thought through and I'm like, if I'm like, I'm a code of ethics breeder. I'm not breeding to a non-registered Anatolian, much
Sure.
less a cross.
Mhm.
So, and I can explain that to people, but I'm like, your bitch is ugly. Like, what if they had an AKC Anatolian girl they want me to breed to? And I'm just like, I don't like her. Like she comes from lines I don't really like the temperament on, or like I'd have to inspect her in person. You'd have to come here and I'd have to do a full temperament evaluation and evaluate her with livestock before I'd consider it. And people aren't going to do that. They want me to ship semen to
Yeah.
Massachusetts or wherever. It's like it's not workable either way. But it was a thing that I did that my husband was like, "You why did you do this?" And he's like, "There's nothing wrong with him." And I'm like, "I know, but he has had 5 litters. That's enough." And also his parents were frankly overbred. Like the more I dug into his lineage, the more I was like, I think they had 7 litters out of the same two parents
Mhm.
that are all registered out there. And I'm just like, that his genetics are not at a premium and being lost, right? So like I'm like, I feel good about the choice to neuter him either way. But I was not anticipating that coming from the article. I thought people would be like, how can you breed dogs? Like I expected that type of feedback
Yeah.
from it, and I expected like some like, you know, my mom sharing it on Facebook and being like, my daughter was featured in the New York Times. So cool. Look at how cool my kid is. You know, that kind of stuff.
Right.
Not can I breed to your male? So that
That's
was
interesting. And
unanticipated
especially the
consequences.
off breeds. I never would have anticipated that.
Yeah, it was wild. And I was
Mm-hmm.
just like, ah. But yeah, I think I did the right thing. I did the right thing for me. And that's kind of in the end all that matters. My husband, like, he likes to have opinions about the dogs, but they're mine. They're mine. It's my breeding program. It's my name on it. Like, I throw his name on for fun sometimes just to be nice. But
Yeah.
if someone has a problem, it's me they're talking to. And if someone has a question about Anatolian shepherds, they're coming to me. They're not going to Tim. So
Yeah.
he has other skills.
Yeah.
He runs the excavator, okay? And I breed the dogs. So separation of church and state.
Yes, there you go. That's funny. I understand. I understand.
But it worked out. In the end, it all worked out. And I don't know, like, I mean, like, I'm Christian and I'm just like, I prayed on it and I'm like, I just did it before I could logic myself back out of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, I did the right thing. All day long, I'll say I did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, and in the catch, he's frozen. So, like, if
Oh,
his
you
son
have
had,
it.
if his son had, that I kept had not passed his health testing,
Mm-hmm.
I have a couple breedings frozen. But that's for
Oh,
me. That's not for anybody else, you know? So, yeah, I'll stand by it all day long. But it was shocking and weird, and it had the potential for me to choose money.
mm-hmm.
I mean, I could have been like, yeah, it's 5 grand a breeding to anybody, and I could have cleaned up. That would have been what, 10 grand? Not 10 grand, 100 grand? 5 grand times 20.
If you got 20, yeah.
I could have made a ton of money, right? And then I would have been dealing with it the rest of my life, basically, and felt bad forever. So I'm
Okay.
glad I didn't do that, at least.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But I think breeders, like when you have an intact male who's like either popular in the show ring or popular on TikTok, that's gonna come up at some point in your journey,
Mm-hmm.
and having a plan for what, when, and if that happens is probably better than getting blindsided by it. So if you have a really nice, stunning, photographs really well male,
Mm-hmm.
maybe consider that too.
Yeah, no, that's smart. Yeah, I think I like the line. Um, I'm liking more the line to approved programs, right?
That's all over my website, but
Yeah,
yeah.
because it's just it gives you the, oh, but we require this. I'm so sorry, and
Yeah.
yeah, no, I get it. It gets frustrating. I get torn because I don't want to perpetuate and make like bad dogs, you know, for people. But often I know that my stud will fix so many things for people. So if they're going to breed anyway, they probably should use my stud because then it,
Yeah.
and so
Well,
it is
and
weird.
and
Mhm.
that's totally a thing. Like in purebred dogs, which you are in, and I know that, there are opportunities for a stud to fix something in a bitch. Like that is absolutely okay to do.
Yeah.
That was not the situation I was
Well, not
presented.
a border collie.
No, and not
Could
a
you
cunning
imagine what
corso.
that would look like?
I'm the problem is they would be super cute puppies when they sold them.
Oh,
And
they would
then
take
they would
my
turn
whole
into this
line.
monstrous sized, weird, hyperactive,
Super smart. I mean, both breeds are
assembled by a
smart.
committee, like a giraffe of a horse, basically. Right? Like it's just like this is not right. Something ain't right.
Mm.
But yeah, no, there is absolutely a time and place to let someone outside of your home use your stud. Probably not going to find you through the New York Times.
So valid.
They're probably going to find you through a performance event or through a puppy. If they see one of your puppies in the wild and they ask the person where they got that puppy because they really like your puppy and your puppy has a better rear assembly than their bitch does and they want to see if the stud looks the same and maybe they could use him.
Yeah.
That's a great way to find a stud dog. The New York Times ain't it.
Hmm.
Because all they're doing is going off of like a blurb and a picture
Right.
of his head. Not even his like they didn't even see his body. That's not that's
Right.
not how we pick a stud dog. Okay? Like just it's not it. So, yeah, I mean and people are going to do whatever they want to do, but like I would recommend seeing the dog in person that you want to use, or at least having a good idea of the lineage and seeing his puppies,
Yeah.
seeing the bit, find if he's been bred to a bitch that kind of looks like yours or her cousin or her sister. What did it produce? Was it
Mm.
worth doing again? Um, like, that kind of stuff. Not I saw a magazine article.
It is an interesting place. That's not my first pick for shopping for studs. So there's that.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking, honestly, but and I'm not judging them. I'm very flattered that they liked him so much and they were so struck by him that they wanted to have his puppies, but no is a
Mhm.
complete sentence as well.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Thank you, no.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were in the New York Times and this guy comes to your house.
So yeah, he came out, he saw the dogs, he saw everybody, we walked around and he got to pet them and be like, wow, these are, really cool. I'm like, thank you.
Mhm.
Um, but the focus of the article was just the fact, like addressing the fact that there are an increased number of grizzly bears in Montana and elsewhere. But because they are protected federally, it's a different situation than with black
Mm.
bears or any other predator that we have here.
Which, because you can get like tags and you have a right to defend your land against them, but because they're protected, it changes that. Is that right?
Yeah, so with a grizzly bear, unless you are actively about to be killed or someone you love, like a person is
Mhm.
actively about to be killed, or it's actually killed and killing more of your livestock, you can't touch it.
Mhm. Jeez.
You can go to prison. You can get big fines and lose your house. It is a serious thing.
Yeah.
Um, and grizzly bears are very territorial
Mhm.
also. But what we have in our valley right now, I think we have 5 of them that come through and post up at different points, but they're not friendly with each other. They're
Mhm.
not seeking out human things yet because
Okay.
there's plenty of berries, there's plenty of wildlife, there's a lot of
Mhm.
water.
Okay.
So we don't have it as bad as some other areas. What they
Okay.
were running to they basically did a study as well, which has also been in the New York Times now, which was like, okay, there's bears and they're targeting grain silos. They're targeting outbuildings. They're destroying hunting shacks that have been in the family for like, generations,
Mhm.
because you left something there.
Mhm.
Um, and we're talking like ripping the doors off the hinges and just ransacking the place and eating everything that you had stocked up for next week's hunt. Like, so you're showing up to this crazy, like it's bad. And also very disconcerting, regardless of the caliber of weapon you brought with you to hunt.
Oh, for sure. They're huge. They're
No
just
one's ready for that.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so the name of the game with bears, regardless of species, is preventing habituation, which is just the process
Mm.
where a bear no longer fears people. They see people as a food source, not as a threat.
Got it.
Once that happens, there's really no saving that bear because they're only going to escalate.
Mm.
And people are not as predictable as predators and they make dumb decisions. We just do. And so then people get killed inevitably, and then the bear pays the price basically for that. So with the bears, what they're trying to do is they had a study with Utah State and Montana Fish and Game, and they
Mhm.
got together and they provided people west of the divide. So I'm west of the divide, which is the Rocky Mountains in Montana. Most
Mhm.
of Montana is east of the divide. I'm
Okay.
on the good side, not to brag. But east of the divide, they were having a lot of like grain silo issues or just people with property that were having grizzly bears come and wipe out their entire 30 chickens in a night, which is a problem.
Mhm.
And
Oh
that's how
yeah.
you make your living or side gig or whatever. So they did a controlled study where they had some that didn't have anything in place, and then
Mhm.
they added dogs to some other study properties. And I sold 2 puppies to that study at a very low rate. And so it was shockingly to no one, the dogs were very effective at keeping the grizzly bears out of the yard. And it wasn't really a livestock related study. It was more of a property and feed stuffs related study, because that when you're a rancher and you have cattle, you're not so worried. But like if you have no corn now for the rest of winter in
Uh,
Montana, that's a big problem. Or if they dump it. Bears
so the
are very smart.
so the bears were taking essentially the feed supply. They weren't killing the animals so much. It was the feed supply, which just wipes you out because
It's
a
easier.
lot of farmers buy in bulk, like they buy a season.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
then so bears are pretty smart. They could open a silo and have it drain a year's worth of feed, and then they would just come back every night and eat some of it. Um, but I mean, who doesn't love corn? We like corn in
Everybody
different
loves corn,
ways.
right?
Bears are
Mhm.
just like, yes. And I mean, during hyperphagia, which is like this time of year right now, I guess
Mhm.
now the
For everyone knows we're recording in September, so
yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
So when this comes out, it will be over and the bears will be in Torber and everything will be
yeah,
fine. But in the fall, they hit hyperphagia, which is where they eat everything they can fit in their mouth because they have to put on weight to survive the is that it's not hibernation, it's like a nap, a heavy nap that they go to in winter. They can wake up and they can mess you up if you go in their house. So don't do that. The more you know. But yeah, so the bears are very effective at surviving, and part of that survival is seeing a grain silo and smelling the corn or wheat or whatever else you got in there and saying cha-ching. So when there's a dog or two between that source and the bear says, I'm gonna go elsewhere, thank you.
yeah, and it prevents
um
habituation, right?
and it prevents habituation. It saves that bear from inevitably being culled by Fish and Game,
Sure.
and it just prevents a lot of loss and heartache and nastiness. And it's like, yes, the dogs are big, and yes, they can be expensive. My puppies are, and they
Mhm.
are expensive to feed and maintain and vet. But on the flip side, like, what are you getting for that money that you're investing in that dog? And I think it's
Yeah,
way more than the feed and vet fee and the puppy
yeah.
cost. So
Well, you can lose one cow, one chicken, or not one chicken, but a chicken coop, and it
yeah,
starts it up really fast.
it truly does. And it seems like a little like side hobby to a lot of people. They don't understand like when you're subsistence farming or ranching, like it actually does matter when you lose a calf or three in a season. It can break you. It can
Mhm.
make it to where you're no longer profitable and can't feed your kids. That's a problem,
Yeah,
you know? So
absolutely.
yeah, so the bears, I mean, they're a thing, but they're here. No one that I am friendly with, I guess I should say, wants them eradicated or done away with or gone.
Hmm.
We also don't want them in our yard with our children. You
Right.
know, like there's a difference. You don't it's not
Yeah.
one or the other. Like there is a gray area where we can coexist. And the way that I've been since I came to Montana 15 years ago is having the dogs.
Hmm.
And it just is a very it's a clear and a kind way to communicate your presence instead of just like shooting them. Like shooting predators
Right.
is not
Well, 'cause what
friendly.
else? What else would you do? I
Yeah.
don't know what else you could do.
There's a lot of people who do that around here, and I'm just like, you're not preventing or solving any problems. You are creating more problems. You're buying trouble in the future, basically, when
Yeah.
you just shoot wolves because
Yeah.
you see
So
them.
what's neat is your dogs are actually not only are they the deterrent, but they pretty much just prevent any interaction. Like they mark the territory. This is ours.
Yeah, they're basically a bouncer, like a pasture
Yeah.
bouncer. So they're there, and so people that eliminates 80% of the nonsense because they're
Yeah.
like, well, I'm gonna have to deal with that guy if I mouth off or touch somebody in a bad way or anything like that. And also the remaining 20%, like the only time I actually have conflicts are if the predator is injured or sick or otherwise compromised and it cannot physically run down a deer to go
Mm,
actually get protein, or it like some years we have more pressure when there's no berries. If we have a very dry year and there's no berries on the trees right now, there's tons right now, which is great. They're hungry. And if you're
yeah.
hungry, you're going to go take more risk on yourself to go get a meal. And frankly, penned livestock, especially like on 10 acres where I have it like cross fenced, that's easy pickings.
Yeah, it feels
Without the
like a
dogs there,
buffet, right? Like,
it's a buffet. It's just sitting there ready for the picking. So I understand from the predator's perspective why it makes sense to come here, right? Like I don't they're not villains, they're not malicious, they don't have that like in their head. They're instinctually driven to survive.
mm,
And humans put goats and chickens in a box and expect that the bear will have morals and not touch them because his name is Fluffy. And that's just not a thing.
no.
I'm so, like it's just not realistic, right?
What about
So
What about kids? Do they come after kids at all?
They can. So it's not like they're like going after kids for food, but like territorially, humans are predators, just like a bear, just like a wolf.
Hmm.
And when you have a crying toddler in your yard or you have kids playing and they are an obstacle to a predator between them and a meal, whether that's a wild deer in your yard or like a fawn or something else, if that kid's in the way, the kid's in trouble.
Yeah.
And when you have kids out here, you literally have to train the kids. Like even if you do have dogs, like you have to train your children, leave the dog because they want to stay with their dog and bring their dog back into the house or into the yard or like,
Yeah.
protect the dog. So I tell people I'm like, we have to train your kids. Leave the dog. Go get safe.
Hmm.
And that's a thing that most people who live in cities have never conceived of.
No, it's very true. I know because
They're worried about people. Like they're worried about the creepy guy down the road, right?
yeah,
You're not
right.
worried about a bear or a
Yes,
cougar.
exactly. Exactly. Well, the coyotes here are only like 40 pounds, they're just not that big.
A decent sized toddler could take them. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I just run my hands up and they're just like, oh, okay,
Like,
well,
oh no.
yeah, exactly. I mean, I do see them carry cats a lot. Um,
Absolutely.
Gross,
Yeah.
but they're not that scary for us. Once the kids are
Yeah.
about 4 years old, it's not worth it.
You reach a critical mass where it's
Me
like
too.
you're okay now. Yeah, I mean, it sounds crazy, but people who live out of like town will get
Yeah,
it. They're
they
like, yeah, we
they
have a
do.
minimum age of kids we allow outside without an adult.
Do you end up
Um,
selling people like is so that kind of your market is selling your Anatolians to or would you say like is it ranchers? Is it like the similar to where you are where you've got land and but not like crazy commercial size livestock?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of it is like more like the homesteady types.
Yeah, there you
So
go.
they have like a young family and they have like livestock that maybe do have names. So we're like emotionally attached and then we like eat their babies or whatever, but we would never eat Ginger. Like that kind of stuff happens. But the people who are willing to like, invest in a registered, pedigreed, out of health tested parents puppy
Yeah,
is not so much like the guy operating 500 head or 1,000 head of cattle on range.
right.
They have what we call an acceptable loss column, and they basically write off X number of calves or cows a year.
Yeah.
And that's just the way it is, and that's the way it's always been. Um,
Hmm.
People aren't really doing that job unless their grandpa did it, probably, usually. And this is just the way they have been taught how to do it.
Hmm.
And that's their method. They're not going to go buy a $4,000 puppy
Hmm.
and risk that puppy. And they're definitely not going to go buy five of them and
Hmm.
run an actual functioning LGD pack on their 100 plus acres of land,
Yeah.
and count on that because they're like then the minute they still lose a calf, they dump the dogs. That is tends to be what happens with the big scale ranchers. They're like, oh, clearly they don't work. Um, Rather than like managing, like editing managerial stuff and like cross fencing and
Yeah.
giving the dogs a
You
chance.
you find that people just understand the value, the homesteaders understand the value in a different way, which
Yeah,
makes
and they're
sense.
also usually running like smaller niche registered stock, or they have purebred, like poultry that they sell those hatching eggs in the spring for $65 a dozen. Like it's not like they're like dumb and not business savvy people, but they are
Yeah.
more niche and they understand the value of like a security dog
Yeah,
versus
that makes sense. They're not looking at their stuff like commodities, pricing it based on the like, the stock exchange commodity lists. It's much more
there's more
personal.
into it. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, that is my market. I absolutely have sold dogs to people who moved up here during COVID, have small children, and are like, oh my God, there's a bear on my porch.
Yeah.
I'm at work. Like, usually it's the guy who's like at work and his wife is calling him panicked because she doesn't remember how to use the shotgun because there's a bear on their porch trying to break down their door. That's not a call that anyone wants to get.
No.
And that's a pretty regular call that happens here with people who move here from other places and are just not mentally prepared for that to happen.
Yeah.
So like I've got a family right now that I'm talking to that has had that basic experience and the guy's
Hmm.
like, I have to do something. And I'm like, yep,
Yeah.
but a puppy's not gonna fix that. So then we have to talk about like how to come by an adult. Like,
Mm-hmm.
do I have adults available? Not really.
Yeah.
But like, I feel obligated to help them because they are in trouble and they have children. And you can replace a cow, a goat, a sheep. You
Yeah.
cannot replace a human child. That it's a different level. And some people in Anatolians and other guardian breeds think they're like, oh, well, they're livestock guardian dogs. They're not people guardian dogs. And that's not in keeping with the historical, significance and purpose of this breed. Yes, it is. um, in Turkey and wherever else your dogs come from, regardless of what livestock guardian dog breed you have, they have always protected the shepherd's family as well. It has never
Ah,
just been about the sheep. Um,
makes
like if
sense.
something is, and shepherds are bonded to their dogs too. It's not just a dog herd relationship going on. The shepherds are
And
in
that
it
makes
with
sense.
them. The
Sure.
shepherds matter to the dogs and the dogs matter to the shepherds. And humans matter. I don't know like how better to explain that, but
They just sort
um
of extend their protection and care to the kids. It's just natural.
yeah, especially like kids are very like I think the dogs think that kids are just like really weird looking hairless goats. They make sudden movements, they make the similar noises, and but they're just real funky looking,
They're both
right?
called kids, right? Like, there you
Yeah.
go.
They're
Yeah.
just weird looking goats. But yeah, I mean, people need their kids protected, and
Yeah.
if you can at least have a bubble of a
Mhm.
backyard where a dog is running and marking scent and barking out and keeping stuff out of, your kids can actually maybe play outdoors, which is why you moved here in the first place. Frankly, you didn't move here so your kids could sit on a screen all day,
Mm-mm.
right? So, like Montana is for outdoors people, like
Yeah, that
straight
makes
up.
sense for sure.
So yeah,
Yeah.
it works well. People come back to me a
Hmm.
lot because they're like, I need another one. I'm like, okay.
Hmm. And they do work better in pairs, don't they?
Absolutely. Yeah. Pairs are like the minimum here. If you have like large, like if you have a grizzly bear coming in your yard or you have multiple wolves coming around, you really do need three. But it's not like you need three today. That's something
Hmm.
you build up to. I don't place littermate puppies together because people don't always understand that you have to like actually separate them and give them separate bonding time so they're not codependent and weird.
Yeah.
Not and it's worse than pet dogs because they're outside, they're just with each other all the time. They're gonna bond and play with each other and they're gonna forget
Oh,
that the
yeah.
sheep are
Like two
there.
boys, two brothers that grew up in the woods together. Oh, yeah. That's
Yeah,
dangerous. Yeah.
humans are the same.
Yeah.
So yeah, basically it's just like, and people get them and everybody has different expectations. So that's like part of my job is setting the like, you must actually reinforce what you do want and redirect what you do not want.
Yeah.
And what I want and do not want is not identical to probably anybody else. Like I have different rules for my dogs than most people, and that's fine. The puppy does not like come with that pre-installed. Your dog will have your quirks. So
Yeah, exactly. So is there anything you do specifically to work with them or educate them?
people,
Yeah. Is it mostly conversations or how do you
yeah,
get
it's a lot of
them off the right?
conversations. I
Yeah.
also have like an online course
Oh, that's so
that I
cool.
have and I give to my anybody who puts a deposit down basically who is
Mhm.
like on the reservation list gets access to this course where I go over like are they really allergic to anesthesia? No. Like, breed history and I give them the timeline and I give them all this stuff because once you have a weird dog, like a weird breed of dog, people will stop you and ask you questions. And if your whole thing is like, I don't know, that's not very like, it doesn't feel good. Like I spent a lot of money on this puppy, I don't know.
Yeah.
So I try to like primer that end of it as well as the like functional day to day. If you're getting a puppy for kids, you can't just
Mhm.
leave the puppy with the kids. It's gonna chew on them. It's a kid.
Right.
Like adult supervision is required. Um, and like, my toddlers when they were my boys when they were little, like I would totally leave them with the dogs, but the dogs were pre-trained and calm. They were not
Yeah.
puppies, they were adults, and they were
Yeah.
trustworthy, and I could see them out the window, kind of thing.
Different, right?
It's
Definitely.
a little different than some people. You can't outsource parenting to a dog,
You really can't. I mean,
no
you
matter
can
what
get
Peter
some of
Pan
it
says.
done, but so do you about what age are they effective?
Sure. So, I mean, they're effective from I would say about 6 to 8 months. They have at least enough mass to them
Hmm.
to deter, which is
Sure.
basically their job is deterrent. Their job is not to fight. Their job
Right.
is to deter.
Mhm.
Um, Once they're at that does not mean they're ready to go and trained and done. usually. I've of course had the like unicorn dog who just never did anything wrong. And I'm like, that's like the like family who has 9 children and they had one kid that they would like forget existed because they were never in trouble at school and they got straight A's and they were just not a problem. That's the exception, not the rule, right? So typically they're actually pretty good to about 6 or 8 months when they're get enough size on them. Then they
Mhm.
have enough mass and you're like, oh, I can treat you like an adult dog now.
No.
No, no, just because they look mature doesn't mean their noggin is mature, and the noggin is what matters. So, yeah, continue training. I swear to God, their brain falls out on occasion. You'll be
Oh,
like,
like the teenage regression.
uh-huh,
Oh, it's painful in every
absolutely.
breed. Oh
You'll
yeah.
be like, hey, sit. And they're like, sit? I don't know her. And they seem sincere, right? And you're like, are you messing with me right now? Like we know what sit means in this house. And they're
Mhm.
just like, eh. And they just look at you with a blank stare and they're just like, okay, well, if that's all, I'm gonna go back to do what I was doing before. And that doesn't, that doesn't hit right with most people who've had like, German Shepherds or Golden Retrievers their whole lives who are just like exist to please. These dogs are
Yeah.
not that.
They're way
uh,
too independent of thinkers. Yeah.
they're very independent, but it's by design. It's not like a malice issue and they're not trying to get back at you or being petty. They are literally bred to do their work while you
Mhm.
sleep. You're
Yeah.
welcome. If you want a dog who's going to work while you sleep and you can actually sleep through the night and not have to get up 3 times and grab a gun and your trench coat and boots and go wander out in the dark, you have to allow for them to actually have their own thoughts and make their own
Mhm.
decisions in life. And that can be situational. Like they are just regular dogs in town. They will heal on a they'll well if they don't I don't really care about healing.
Sure.
Like, but they will walk on a loose lead and they will
Sure.
come when I say come and they will lay down under a table at a restaurant so that we can have like dinner. They will do these things and they will go to a dog show and they will prance around a ring that they think is stupid all the time wondering where their sheep are and why mom is making us do this. But they will do it because I ask and because we have a relationship. And then when they get home, they get a steak and everything's fine. And like, it's good. But yeah, I asked them to do some ridiculous things. And I understand that dog shows are ridiculous to these dogs, and I don't
Mhm.
care. Because the
But it's
point of
fun
a
for
dog
you.
show is not like I'm not going because I enjoy it.
Oh
Honestly,
no.
I'm no, like I'm kind of bad at it, honestly, which is funny now as the president of the club. But like it I have them to be working dogs. I take them to shows to prove they have a temperament to be in public.
Yeah.
They can stand for exam with by a stranger. A stranger can go grab his balls off property, not on property. But
Fair
like
enough.
my dogs can behave in public, and that
Mhm.
is a big thing that a lot of these dogs can't do.
Right.
So that's why we're going. And also just so people can meet the breed because they're
Yeah.
not a lot of people are not coming to my house. They're welcome by appointment, please.
Yeah.
To come to my house and meet the dogs and like get the whole rundown from me. But most people don't have the time or they're not close enough,
It's a bit of a drive, I would imagine, probably from town. You're not sound like you're right in town.
I'm not. Yeah. No. So I mean it's an investment of time and all that stuff, but it's also important for people to see the breed out in public and be like, "What is that?" Which is a completely logical and fair question. People who have rare breeds and get offended when people ask, "What kind of dog is that?" I don't get you. Like don't be rude. They're interested in your dog. Talk their
Yeah,
ear off about your dog.
exactly, exactly. I love how you've thrown in that history into your course so that people can be prepared for that.
Yeah, and it
Make them
helps that people are
ambassadors.
it gives
Mhm.
them something to say as opposed to like, it's an Anatolian. And they're like if you say Anatolian Shepherd, the first thing that most people say is, "Oh, like a German Shepherd." No. And then you have to like backtrack and be like, "No, they're from Turkey. They live outdoors with livestock. They don't herd. They're not a living fence like a German Shepherd that never stops moving all day. These guys are actually pretty stationary during the day. They're like napping on the top of the hill to just keep an eye on things." Like opposite basically temperament for like a adjacent job but not at all similar, right? So it's interesting to have these conversations out in the public where they have a Bernedoodle and they're like, "Oh, I have a purebred Bernedoodle," and I'm like, "Oh, that's nice." Like, don't fight with people in public, it's rude. So yeah, but it's like it doesn't hurt anybody to be nice and
Right,
educate, right? Like that doesn't harm anything, so just be
right.
nice.
Yeah, exactly. Just share. Be an ambassador for the breed. It's so much better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and be like, and I'm always like, they do need a job. You
Mhm.
can't just have one as like a pet. They're gonna give themselves a job. And it's gonna be to bark at the mailman or break through your front glass when you have a stranger outside in the middle of the night.
Yeah.
Like
So
give them a job,
give a
please.
job, right? Like they're not couch potatoes.
Yeah.
Um, okay, but so you got started. So you wanted to do the breed club for the Shars first. And that
It
kind of
is.
all fell through, ended up shoving you maybe to a better aligned breed, right? With being in with the
Yeah.
Anatolians.
It works out in the end. I have no
Uh,
ill will towards any of those people. We're still
no, no,
friendly.
this is a better fit for you.
Yeah.
So how did that come about? How did you become president? Did you have any goals when you got in there, or what did you want to shift?
Oh boy. Yeah, okay. So did I have any goals? I have a list. So basically the Anatolian Shepherd Dog Club of America was founded in 1970. I was born in 1988. If that
Hmm.
like puts any perspective on the like I was not around. Not only was I not in the breed, I was
Yeah.
not breathing for a lot of the initial pain of getting the breed established in the US and the
Mm.
work of people who had to go to Mexico to show their dogs to like get compared to a breed
Wow.
standard because there was no option in the US.
Mm.
And like I cannot quantify adequately the amount of work that the initial people put in, right? Not just because I wasn't there, but because it is insurmountable to
Yeah.
bring dogs from Turkey. And we're talking like the club founders, it was a couple, it was actually two couples basically, but the main couple, he was in the Navy and he was stationed in Turkey and he was gifted some dogs and he brought them home.
Got it.
And like that's how this went down. Were there Anatolians in the country before
Mhm.
1970? Yes. Yes, there were. The USDA had a failed project way back. The Department of Ag, but the dogs apparently their food budget bankrupted the project for Department of Ag
Wait,
in
they
like
were studying the
in the
Anatolians
50s. Yeah, they
and they didn't.
basically like assembled a bunch of different breeds from overseas to try to see like how we can support America's farmers. And
Yeah.
it was a noble idea. They just had no idea the like the I guess the like the size of these dogs
Yeah.
and like their needs. So they just ended up dispersing the dogs all willy-nilly all everywhere without appropriate paperwork to track like lineage or anything like that. So we don't really have access to those dogs, unfortunately. Plus they were mixed with all the other like they were interbred with all the other
That's like
like
really common in government testing projects. I noticed, like, let's just blend all these genetics. It's like,
it's great
yeah,
intentions and
right.
not so great planning and follow through. Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
thing. And it's not their fault. They meant well, but it happened. So, but with the club, like it has a very interesting history. There was not just one breed club that was started back then. There was like three, and
Mm.
the people associated with like they basically chose a side, and there was a lot of drama ensued, and stuff
Yeah,
happens.
for
People
sure.
do be people in.
Right.
So, but that was a long time ago. I
Mhm.
still have members today who remember that time, right? Of course,
Wow.
and we're there.
Yeah.
They have a lot of big feelings about certain people or certain looks of dog that they don't agree with in their soul, in their heart. And it's well intentioned and
Mhm.
it's based on their personal experience. And I can't do anything to like change that. And I don't want to change their experience or their opinions. That's not my
Right.
job. But my goal coming in as a sort of young person, like I'm in my 30s, so I'm younger
Mhm.
for a few more years, then it's over, right? I think. But
Mhm.
my husband's in his 40s and it's just like he's like, it gets worse, babe. Like just wait. You're not gonna be able to bend your knees. So but yeah, I mean I don't have any issues with acknowledging historical stuff. And
Sure.
I value the people who went before us and did all this cool stuff so that we could have a club. I
Mhm.
see the value in having a dog club as opposed to a lot of people who just think that they're ruining a breed and over restrictive
Yeah, and
and
I mean, do you want to kind of split too? Because I think some people don't understand the difference between a club, the breed club, and like AKC. And of course,
sure.
with the doodle world, like a lot of the doodle breeds that have a club, they're the registry and the club at once, which is not the case for purebred breeding.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So I can like walk you through with our club. We were founded in 1970. We were our own registry, right? Because nobody else would take us. So just straight up, no one, the AKC is not recognizing a dog breed that was just imported yesterday.
okay, fair. Mhm.
You have to meet criterion to get into the foundation stock service. And then you
Mhm.
move up to miscellaneous as a breed, and then you can move up and be recognized as an official AKC breed. It is a process. It is work.
Yeah.
And we finally got that in the 90s. So it
Mhm.
took
Oh,
decades
wow.
of
Yeah.
work. Um, and getting into the AKC, what the AKC actually is, I think there's a lot of confusion just like about AKC and what they are and what they actually do and what they don't do. So they don't breed. They're not responsible for breeders' decisions. They
Mhm.
maintain registry records. So they maintain a stud book of so and so bred so and so made this puppy for you, and they can give you like they can they can sell you a 4 generation pedigree to go with your puppy registration so that you can know where they came from and track lineage if that interests you. But they're not the one making the breeding decisions. They're
Mhm.
not the one deciding who wins at a dog show even.
They're
They
not
they
deciding who can breed.
they're not saying who can or cannot breed. No. Yeah.
Mhm.
So what a lot of people say is the common line is the AKC ruined X, right? So border collies, German shepherds. Oh,
Mhm.
it's common in working dogs, like
Sure.
working breeds, herding breeds are working. They're just a
Mhm.
different subsect. So they like to say the AKC ruined my breed.
Mhm.
And to which I say, how? And they're like, well, they all look like this show dog for the
Mhm.
AKC instead of being functional in the field. And I say, oh, I'm so sorry, that sucks. Is the show dog unfunctional in the field? And of course, I say yes, and I show them videos of a show dog champion who works cattle every day. And they're like, yeah, but that's the exception. And I'm like, okay, like, let's not get into semantics here.
Yeah.
The AKC is a record keeper. It's like the
Sure.
accountant of the lineage, right? Like they're
Mhm.
tracking that. And as a breeder, I'm the one producing the puppies.
Yeah.
I'm the one selling the puppies to hopefully the correct
Mhm.
homes. I'm the one who restricts breeding rights on my puppies, not
Right.
the AKC. The
Right.
AKC doesn't say, oh, that Frenchie is Merle, so it can't be registered
Right.
because they're registering it as a fawn. The AKC doesn't know it's a Merle and they're breeding it, right? A
And
silver
yeah.
Labrador is a chocolate Labrador on paper. And that is not the AKC doing it. It's very important to delineate like the
Mhm.
AKC didn't do that. It was actually the breeder or the
Right.
buyer, whoever's
And
submitting that.
I think what happens is people, so we have AKC shows, we have UKC shows, and they're
Yeah,
different, right? But that standard doesn't come from AKC.
it does not. No, no, that's a super good point. So a breed club, a breed parent club
Mhm.
is the organization behind whatever breed. So the Anatolian Shepherd Dog Club of America is the breed parent club for the Anatolian Shepherd Dog to the AKC.
Which is like the official one, right? So they had to appeal as a club to AKC and say, hey, we want to use your registry. Will you let us? And so
And
that
here is the
organization,
standard. And
yeah.
here are our bylaws. Any bylaw change that we make to our club
Mhm.
has to be not only voted by membership, but also approved by the board of the AKC.
Interesting.
So we're not like breed clubs are established to protect and preserve a breed. They are
Mhm.
not there to make like we lose money hand over fist basically. We're not there to make money and it's not a for-profit thing and but we do own our breed standard. It's our
Mhm.
baby. When we make changes to it and the membership of the club votes and like that is a really big reason to actually join whatever breed you're in, the breed club is
Mhm.
because if you are a voting member of your breed club, you actually have a voice in the future of your breed. Whether that is to change or to not change your breed
Mhm.
standard, you would
Yeah.
actually have a voting right to say, no, leave it as it is. It's been fine for 100 years. It's fine for 100 more.
Mhm.
Or to say, actually, like, this is a little vague, or this is too specific and too restrictive, and we're running into health issues by following this part of the breed standard. Like, I'm not saying the breed standard should never be changed.
Sure.
I'm looking to change ours a little bit, but it's not so black and white, and it's not just the AKC lording over everything, ruining
Sure.
everything.
So, do you happen to know with AKC and UKC, are they separate breed clubs that are their official, and that's why the standards are different?
Yeah.
And maybe in theory, because UKC has the reputation of the working dog shows, and AKC has the reputation of the show dog lines, would it be fair to say that a more working focused breed club would appeal more to wanting to work with UKC? Is that kind of maybe where this is coming from? If you know.
No, I do know. So with the Anatolian specifically, yes, there is a separate breed club
Okay,
that is the UKC breed club.
got it.
Um, the UKC also recognizes the Kangal
Which
dog
is
from Turkey, which
okay.
is a fawn black
Another,
mask only, not all colors, and a little bit different size and a little sharper temperament and like different structured skull, like these things. But the AKC does not.
mhm,
So there are differences between the two registries for sure. I think the UKC, it's a slightly newer organization.
mhm.
It does not have the same reputation that the AKC does for shows and stuff, but they still absolutely do them. They do shows, they do hunt trials, they do all the stuff that AKC does that the UKC also does. Um, the UKC does not have professional handlers, which is a big difference in their conformation. So the dog show that you think of like
Yeah.
on TV, AKC has people who do that for a living because they're good at it. They can take a dog around the ring and make it look its best.
Mhm.
I cannot. The dog is winning in spite of me, not because of me. Like that's me. There are also owner handlers who are not being paid who are showing their own dogs who are fantastic, by the way. You don't have to be a pro to win. That's not a thing in AKC. It's a thing that people talk about and say a lot, but it's not true. If you're good at showing and grooming and doing all your stuff, you can absolutely do very, very well in AKC, just like you can do in a UKC show.
Mhm.
I think UKC is a little less formal. Like you're not seeing a whole lot of St. John's suits, which I don't own, by the way, but like people do, and those are like up to $500 for a skirt suit, and I'm just like the money, like pearl clutch if I had them.
Yeah.
But yeah, the I don't think the stakes are any lower at a UKC show. I have a dog from a lady who is very active in UKC in Minnesota because those are the shows that are available in her area, and she also does favor the working dog stuff over AKC's
Yeah.
fancy reputation. But
Sure.
she could absolutely do all those things with AKC too and be just as successful because she's very good, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not unique, and it's not like she's landlocked in UKC. Um, the UKC and the AKC are actually reciprocal registries for most breeds. So as long as the standards are pretty coherently
Mhm.
aligned, AKC will absolutely take a dog from UKC and give it AKC papers. If it has a
Mhm.
pedigree, if it's registered with AKC or UKC. They're not like oppositional fighting organizations.
Yeah. No, I
They're
didn't.
parallel, but they're very related and very similar. I don't see the point in me trying to participate in UKC because there is not a single show within a 4-state radius of me, and it's not an opportunity for me to easily go do. Whereas
And
you AKC, I can get to like 4 shows a year within
you're also president of the
4 months.
AKC official club, so that works out good too.
Yeah, well now, yeah. I mean I haven't always been. It's been a year.
Mhm.
So but yeah, I mean I joined the club and I think in 2020.
Mhm.
Which was not a great year for anybody. But I attended a national specialty in 2021 that was supposed to be held in 2022. I met people. I got a feel for the organization. I got a feel for like what I did and didn't agree with.
Mhm.
And I got like kind of the feel of who was in charge at that point in time and maybe like opportunity areas for the club and what they could
Mhm.
actually use me for. So I then got active in the tech community, the tech team, the committee, and I redid the website. I joined the health committee and we're getting the health survey out, which is very important. Like there are things that I could do even not as president that were
Mhm.
very useful and helpful and constructive to the club. And I think that a lot of people maybe don't realize that regardless of your breed, there are opportunities for you, even if this is your first, you know, schnauzer, to go and join the breed club and be like, I am happy to help in this area and I am good with tech because I am a young person. Or like, have you considered this? And like, just, but don't bring stuff to the club and then be like, okay, you're welcome for the idea. Now figure it out. Volunteer. Volunteer, like, to actually make your idea a thing. They love that. Not everybody loves it, I won't lie. Not everybody is very embracing of like online payments. That was a big thing for me. Like, I got that going for the club
Oh, that's
because I
huge.
was like,
Yeah.
I don't want to mail a check, and I'm
Yeah.
sure if I don't want to, a lot of people don't want to. So I got that going, and our renewals went up, and people were happier, and
Hmm.
happier people stick with the club, which is good for the club and it's good for the breed. Because when you only
Yeah.
have 5 club members doing whatever the heck they want, it's not good for the breed. Like, you need more people, not fewer. So, but yeah, the club it's older than me, which I respect. It is also the year of our Lord 2025. So we need to join this modern era of the world without trashing anything that's happened. We do need to
Yeah.
move forward into this modern world and have modern things. And it's just there's stuff that is like, why are we mailing a magazine to people who don't want a physical magazine? Give them a PDFA in the email and they will be
Hmm.
happy as a clam, and it will save the club $3,000 a year.
Huge, right?
Huge. Yeah.
Mm.
And just little tweaks like that is how I think breed clubs are going to be able to actually survive this.
Yeah.
Because down economy, down times, people are just not going to pay the extra $40 to stay in the club, maybe. Or maybe they just don't have it, you
Mm.
know? And it's important to be like, yes, dogs are not the be all end all of life, especially for people who have a family. Some
Yeah.
people treat their dogs like the be all end all of life, but that's not what we're talking about. But like, there are real people out there with real, like, good intentions who want to be involved, and we should let them be involved,
Mhm.
regardless of if this is their first dog or not. And so that's kind of how I've been approaching the club for last year. I've been trying to get more members. We've got a lot of new people, which is great because new people bring new energy.
Oh, for
Um,
sure. And
along with
yeah, new ideas and all kinds of stuff. Was there anything that you did to bring in new membership that you could share?
Um, I mean, it wasn't me personally, but the
Oh,
club
okay.
has approved where it's like a lower entry cost for people who bought a puppy from a code of ethics breeder, for example. So
Oh,
if they're already starting off on that right foot, we want to encourage those people to get more involved with the club, not less, right?
hmm.
So they're going to a health testing breeder that the club has verified membership in good standing, and they're supporting our breeders. We want to support them. So
Yeah.
come on down.
Yeah.
um, and like, yeah, like the online payments and stuff, but recruiting is up. There was, there's times it my goal is to not get it as a political organization.
Yeah.
It's really easy to like backslide into just like, well, I don't like her, so I'm not renewing.
Yeah.
And I hope, like, I'm not a perfect person and I don't say everything right, right? Like, I know that. And I also know I don't know everything.
Sure.
Like, and I
Nobody
admit
does.
that freely, and if I like say something wrong, I will apologize and own it. But I also know that I'm not for everyone. And in the
Everybody.
position of
Yeah.
president, that weighs heavy because I do worry that people will be like, well, I'm going to leave the club because I don't like Natalie. And I'm like, nothing that has happened in the club has been about me or just because of me. I
Yeah.
think that's another like thing where it's like, oh, well, you're the president. Can you do this for me? And I'm like, I can bring it before the board, but we vote and I am one vote max. I am not the board.
Right.
Um, it's not the Natalie show. It is the Anatolian Club board that is doing things. So yeah, it's just there's lots of that where it's like, I understand why you think that, but actually this is how it works. Have you read our bylaws? Like, like just like trying to do that in a nice, constructive way is not always easy for me because I'm like, I had to read the bylaws. Why haven't you? But like stuff like that. It's just like, yeah, like, and I know there's people who don't like me, and I'm like, I can't help that. What I can do is get the breed survey out so that we can actually edit our chick health test
Yeah, that makes sense.
requirements. And what I can do is like work on breed history stuff and get pedigrees uploaded from the 70s and beyond, like forward, of like ancient dogs that we've had registered in the club that have lived in a binder in somebody's garage for 50 years.
Wow.
Like that's something I can do. That's tangible, and that I can do that. I can get it into a pedigree program. We have to pick one. So if you have a recommendation, let me know. But yeah,
Oh,
it's just
cool.
there's there's projects that I think are very productive and helpful. And then there's the other stuff that's personal that is not even part of the conversation for me. So,
Yeah, that
like I
makes
don't have it on my website that I'm the president of the club.
fair. Yeah.
I don't have it on my Facebook profile. I don't talk about it. If somebody's like asking for advice about, whatever, or Anatolians specifically on social media, I'll answer them. I'm not telling them I'm the president, listen to me. I think that's so gross and weird, right?
That's
Like
weird.
the only people who I actually know that I'm the club president are people who go to the website and like look at the board page, I think, or who are like actually members who get emails from me. Like I send out newsletters. I think communication has been like a thing that dog clubs have not historically done very
Oh
well.
gosh, they've been terrible.
So
Yeah.
I started out monthly and people were like, it's kind of a lot. So now I'm trying to be like not like 3 times a month emailing them, but like once a quarter. I took the summer off because I was so busy. But like, yeah, I'm trying to maintain connection to the members and like have an open door. I'm like, if you have a problem, please come to us in an official capacity. Don't text me at 6
Yeah.
p.m. on a Saturday and expect me to do something for you in a presidential capacity. Like I'm going to a birthday party.
Yeah.
But like email me at president@asdca.club, and I will get it on a agenda for a board meeting, or I will ask for you and get the right answer if you have a question. But yeah, I think people are it's retraining them because they're not used to that.
Yeah.
But people are taking it well generally. So that's been nice. But yeah, it's a lot of responsibility and I don't take it lightly.
Mhm.
Managing a board of people with very different preferences and opinions and histories with the breed is also
Yeah.
like super fun. As long and I came in like a bull in a china shop and I was like, we will not talk about people who are not in the room
Hmm.
and not here to defend themselves. We will not call each other names. We will not speak poorly of one another in public. We will not disparage the club or past club board members. We will
Yeah.
not do it. And we will not talk over each other in a Zoom meeting. And we will be respectful and we will have consequences when we can't manage that. And it's
Mhm.
been so easy. Like
Hmm.
everyone has been so great. And some of these people do not get along in real life.
Wow.
They just
That's
don't.
great.
But I'm
Yeah.
like, this is not about us. Like, take off your me hat and put on your club hat and come to the meeting and like just be here for a club business because it's not our business, it's the club. And it's been super successful. So it's been great.
That's really good.
And
I'm happy for you.
yeah, and I came
Wow.
in with a lot of goals and a lot of ideas and things, and I luckily went and talked to other people that I know in purebred dogs who have been club president or at least board members. And the resounding answer was slow down, take a breath, don't don't just do everything you want to do all at once, because when you alienate people as the president, that's what you're remembered for, not anything you got done.
That makes sense.
And
Oh,
I was
wow.
like,
Yeah.
oh. So that was a little like,
Yeah.
But it's going well. It's not going as fast as I would like,
Sure.
obviously, because I'm like, go, 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 get it done. But it's happening at sometimes a glacial pace, but it's progress and we'll take it at this
Yeah.
point because we're all volunteers in the dog club. No one is being paid for this. We're paying to do this, right? So I need to manage my expectations of volunteers, maybe like internally. And I would hope that they would manage their expectations for me as a volunteer. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not about us. It's about the
Yeah.
dogs. And
Right.
I know that a lot of dog clubs can kind of seem like an us or them club and very exclusive. I know a lot of breed clubs will not let new people in, period, which I don't agree with personally, but I also can't tell them how to do their stuff.
Sure.
If you're in one of those breeds that you're not allowed to have a voice in your breed standard and you're not being included or even like deigned and a response when you reach out, that can also be a contributing factor to choices of like continuing with a breed, I think.
Sure.
Nobody really wants to be long term in a place where they are seen as less than or not supported by other breeders. I think breeders, the historical patterns is that like we have three people we work with and everyone else can suck rocks, and it's like that's not workable today. You can't just have your A list of people who you love and want to work with. You at some point will have to go outside your own lines, and when you do, if you called them names or sued them in the past, it's going to be hard to work with them in the future. And if people just universally hate you in a breed, like come to a different breed.
Yeah, I kind of see that. I find it really frustrating. There's a lot of gatekeeping in breeds with the older breeders, and it's not that the older breeders are wrong, right? They have their standards, and I think one thing that's, if you guys remember my story, that the guy who gave me false confidence in how easy it was to breed, for
Yeah.
better or worse, right? I mean, I'm here, but it was muck. Um, but so they understand the depth of what needs to be done. They understand how hard it is. They understand the struggles, and they know it's not for everyone. But it's also not for them to make that decision for you. And I think
And
that's
you
what's so
can
hard.
protect a breed into extinction too. I think that's something that like is
Yes.
not talked about a whole lot. Like, so when I moved to Montana, I wanted a real Anatolian. It's not like I like went out and sought out a crossbreed.
Mm,
No one would sell me a 22-year-old with goats in Montana. A puppy. No,
yes.
no one. No one I could find,
Mm.
right? Like,
Oh, brutal. It's such a common story here all the time.
and it's not that they're bad people. A
Mm.
lot of them are still in the club.
Mhm.
Do they remember me
No.
from 15 years ago? No, they don't. And I don't take it personal, but it is a pattern that is not unique to Anatolians.
Mhm.
And it's that and it's with good intention. They're not like trying to be mean or exclusionary or gatekeepy. They're trying to protect the breed they love.
Right.
But there's a big but when you protect something with a iron fist and you won't let it go and you just only will sell to four people. And like it's not good for the gene pool because y'all are all
Yeah.
cousins now, at least, if not better. And you're dying eventually. We all die. And when we don't let new people in,
Yeah.
our breed can die with us.
Hmm.
And that's horrific, and it's not the first thing they jump to. They're concerned with, oh, they're gonna doodle it. They're gonna breed it to a poodle. Oh, they're gonna not treat it well as I would. That's a big thing. Any breeder in any breed, when
Yeah.
you're looking at a potential home, and if you can even potentially say they will not treat this puppy that I made and loved and planned and worked for, which is valid, they won't treat him as well as I will, so I might as well just keep the puppy.
Yeah.
We get into a bad situation.
Oh yeah.
You have to give and you have to trust that other people can make good decisions. And when we're unwilling to do that, why then it gets to be like, why are you breeding?
Hmm.
Why are we here if we're never going to let go and trust somebody else, if we're never going to mentor someone else to breed and
Yeah.
not see them as competition?
Do you do you think it's a scarcity mindset? Do you think?
A little, but I also think it's like they feel a very big weight of responsibility, especially
Okay.
like club founders and people who've been in the breed or who were raised in the breed. We've got mentors who are second generation. So their
Yeah.
parents raised and bred Anatolians and they raised and breed Anatolians, and their children are now the third generation in the club raising and breeding Anatolians. They feel a very deep, deep sense of responsibility for the breed. If something bad happens in the breed, they like feel it. Like, I mean, we all feel it a little. I feel like it's more devastating to them because it's a
Yeah.
part of their soul at that point. And
Mhm.
they're not trying to be mean, and they're not, but sometimes they are, right? Like it happens. Um, but like there are different people, and if you don't know that story, that backstory, it's very easy to write someone off as a zealot or as a jerk and a gatekeeper and just not a nice person, when really all they are doing is loving the breed too hard and grasping it too tightly.
Mhm.
They have good intentions, but in the end, it means that your line dies with you, and that's not good for anybody. It's definitely
And
not good for the breed.
what do you think's the solution? Any ideas? I think
I
about
mean,
this
I've
a lot.
I've tried talking to people about it. There's been some progress, I feel like, in the last few years. I think social media, younger breeders getting on socials, showing how they whelp a litter, showing how they raise a litter, and kind of being more of an open door situation. Then in that case, I as a breeder can go look at how you whelped your last litter and be like, I don't hate any of this. It's not the way I would have done it. And it's not my way, but you know what? It's a way, and those puppies turned out great. So I would trust you with a breeding quality female.
Mhm.
Um, are the older generation people on Facebook and Instagram? And definitely not TikTok, no. But if you can like network, I think networking amongst breeders is very underrated. I really like your Honest Breeder Society because there's people with very different breeds, very different backgrounds, even the same type of working dogs. We have very different ideals and goals. But when someone says, I have this problem, have you ever seen this? Or what did you do for this? Or do you have a referral for me for this type of issue in this city for a puppy buyer? We're there for each other. And I think that's very important because you are not an island, no matter how much you wish you were. It's
Yeah.
not
No,
functional to be an island. And it's also very like breeding. If the longer you do it, the more you realize it's not all puppies and rainbows. We all have bad days. We all have devastating losses. We all have stuff where it's like either we make a mistake, which we're human, we're going to make mistakes. Either you made a mistake or it wasn't even in your control. Something bad just happened. And when you have family members who say, adopt, don't shop, and villainize you for breeding, who can you go to cry and say, I lost a puppy today?
yeah. And they don't understand it, or they think you should be, because it happens, right? And so sometimes we can put it in perspective very quickly, or we're more focused on how to prevent it next time. And they're like, why aren't you like crying about this? And like, that's frustrating too.
Or judgment, yeah, from that end.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like, you just don't care. And it's like, no, I care a lot, but I've been
But
through
it's
this.
the
I know it
responsibility
happens.
moving forward. I have to learn
Yeah.
from this or
And
else.
it's like,
Yeah.
you have a litter of 8 and humans have one baby, it's just such a different process. It's fast. I wish our pregnancies were 63 days. That'd be nice. But right?
Although we get like we stretch marks for days. I don't know. It'd be very fast.
That's true.
Maybe not.
Oh man. But yes, I know. And so it is, it's hard. And that is, like you said, I do love that. When you find that community of breeders, which I'm not gonna lie, they're inside Dog Breeder Society. But the people that like they care, they understand, they're gonna help you, they care about your outcome and about you as a person. And they're not gonna judge you. And I think that's been so hard in the dog breeding world. And I really think it comes from there's so much to do in dog breeding. So much. And so at any given point in time, you're gonna be failing at something. Like it's just that's how it works. Pick something, it's gonna be something. We're all
Which
good at
sucks
really
because we're
good
all
things.
type A, like trying to like rule the world
Right.
people.
Well, we all want to have everything, right? I think that's one of the appeals of dog breeding. It's like I get to be home, or I get to be with my kids, or I get to do this, or I get to have my own schedule, and then I get to be with dogs, and I get to do this. And it's so much to manage. You have to have so many good habits in place, so many systems in place. And then there's a lot of variables because there's live animals and customers, and all of a sudden, you
You're
can't.
drowning.
Yes. And so I feel like every time breeders go online and they're like, I'm struggling here, people are like, why are you breeding? And it's like, well, that's not helpful.
That's no, it's super not helpful. It's just demoralizing.
Yeah.
Like, is that our goal? Is to like demoralize others? And it doesn't matter if they're like purebred people have this like very high reputation of being like all over crossbreeders. Which I think is interesting how I became the president of this organization because I started with an Anatolian cross, right? Like that was my first dog.
Yes. But I mean, it wasn't, I guess, I
And I
don't
bred it. I
know.
bred it, right? So I was Satan to a lot of these people, like straight up, a lot of them. And I had frank conversations with them when I first joined the club. When I first went to that specialty, they cornered me in a restaurant And we're like, do you think that your crossbreeds are better than purebred Anatolians? Expecting me to say yes and like welcome the fight. And I was like, no. I'm like, I think they're accessible to normal people getting started who care about their livestock, you know, or the kids or property or whatever.
Yeah.
People will sell them one. And
Yeah.
that kind of like stopped them all in their tracks. And they're like, oh. And these were some of the people who refused to sell me a puppy because I was too young or I was too whatever.
Yeah.
And they just kind of were like, that was not the answer we were expecting today. And I was like, yeah, I'm like, I'm not here to fight anybody.
Yeah.
And I understand why people crossbreed dogs. And a lot of it is because purebred dog people have not done a great job taking care of their puppy buyers, being supportive, welcoming new people. You know what doodle breeders do super good? Not just marketing,
Right.
they're nice to people.
Whoa.
Shock.
Did you really just say that?
Yeah, as a breeder is nice to people. And that's honestly, that's how they got the market hold. Like
And
I'm
they,
not, and I that is what it is. I want a doodle? No, I do not.
well,
Am
it's
I
not your
pissed that they're
thing.
making Anatolian doodles? Yeah. Because
They
that
are.
is so conflicting of like, you know, instincts and stuff. Like, I'm
Huh?
like, that is a nightmare of a dog. Like its
Yeah.
internal turmoil in its brain with fighting conflicting instincts is not fair in my mind for a human to create
Yeah.
because you're making problems for that dog that will then transfer to the people around them. And that's
Yeah.
not great.
And I will say though, in my experience, because I do work with a ton of doodle breeders,
Yeah.
that is not all of them at all. In
Oh, I
fact,
know.
I'd say it's actually the minority. The majority of doodle breeders I work with and talk to are super on top of it. They have to do
Health
double
testing.
health testing and then
Yeah.
they follow through. They really take care of their
They
buyers
take care of their buyers, they take care of
and
their
their dogs.
families and their
Yeah.
dogs. Yeah. And I don't, we have doodle breeders that come here to like, I'm a member of the all breed club here locally, which anyone can join, by the way. If your breed club won't let you in, you probably have an all breed club locally in your area that you can join
Oh,
and you
yeah,
can
that's
find them on
cool.
akc.org. But we have doodle breeders come to our eye clinic and some people were like, and I was like, thank you for coming. This is awesome to see you. Like, seriously, there's no reason to be a jerk
Yeah.
to people who are doing the right thing, just not the way you want them to do it. You're
Hmm.
not the boss of them. Unless you pay their bills, you don't get an opinion. And if they're doing the right thing, we want to, again, like a puppy, reinforce the behavior we want to see, right? Even if you don't want to see them making crossbreed puppies or whatever,
Right.
you want to see them health testing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Reinforce that, encourage
Right.
that,
Well, and
be
then
nice.
they're essentially like there's so many more variables in breeding doodles that they've taken on this giant project when they take on breeding doodles. And they've
Yeah.
taken on a lot of extra work. And, I mean, for some it's just non-negotiable, right? Like they just love them. That's what they do. But I think we don't appreciate enough what they're doing.
No, legit.
Yeah.
And like this is probably gonna bite me in the Anatolian Club people, but at the end of the day, we are here on this earth for a very limited time. And it is up to us to decide what we want that impact of that short life to be. And do you want your impact of your short life to be I shamed her. I made her feel bad about her life choices making doodles. Who is that helping? It's not making your life any better. It doesn't make your dog win anymore. It doesn't
Right.
make them better at their job or cuter or fancier or more correct to the standard. And everyone starts somewhere. I'm proof that somebody who starts in functional crossbreeds can transfer over to purebred dogs
Right.
if people aren't dicks about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's much easier to transition when people are receptive and not aggressive. I'm just stubborn, so I did it anyway. But, it's like we all have a choice when we wake up in the morning to choose violence and choose jerkedness or be nice. And I would encourage people just be nice.
Hmm. Well, it goes a
It's
lot
easier.
farther. It's just so much easier. And it's more, you don't feel bad at the end of it. But yeah, I
They
think it
don't
is.
feel bad either. Let's be honest.
Right. No, it's true. It's
They
true.
feel they did the right thing. being
Yeah.
mean to people on the internet or
Oh, that's
at a
true.
dog show.
Yeah, there's that. Ah, it's an
Like
unevolved personality trait. Yes.
just be nice, man. Like just pour one out. Be nice. And like the dogs don't care. At the end of the day, your dog's not barking at them because they're a doodle.
That's so true. Yeah. That's so
Like your dog's barking at them because they're in your yard. It's a miscommunication. So yeah, no, I think that all dog breeders can really benefit from not just people in their own breed, but other breeds, um, and just like being nice. And even if you haven't always been nice,
true. Mhm.
and there's screenshots out in the ether, I've got screenshots out there floating around of me that I wasn't a very nice person. I think we've all had our moments where we were not very nice. That's not precedent setting for the rest of your life. You
Yeah.
can change, you can evolve, and you can be nice.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. Exactly.
And bears are gonna bear, and people are gonna people,
Yeah.
and all we can control is us.
It's
So,
so true. Exactly. Exactly. So if you were going to give advice to new breeders starting, what would you?
of any breed.
Yeah, any breed, just new breeders getting started. What would be something that you would say, hey, don't forget to focus on this? What would you say?
I mean, health is my pet project. Like I truly believe in it, and I do think that there is a huge place for it, but at the same time, it's not a guarantee and it's not perfect. You can have two excellent hip parents produce a dysplastic puppy.
Yeah.
Um, so what I think is actually the most important thing is having a mentor that you actually vibe with and can reliably trust.
Hmm.
Don't just pick a friend who won't
Yeah.
tell you when you're doing something wrong, or maybe like, be like, hey, I've seen this happening in your litters and have you considered? Because a friend is just going to be a yes man, a cheerleader, and not call you on your. And I
Hmm.
think it's very important to have somebody who is not going to lead you astray, but
Sure.
is strong enough with you to be like, hey, I don't really like this. Do you like this about your program?
Hmm.
Because without an outside, not yes man source, kennel blindness is real. Believing that like your dog's poop doesn't stink and all my puppies are perfect, all my puppies are breeding quality, all my puppies are show quality or working quality, or whatever. It's easy to fall into that trap because you love them and
Hmm.
you're close to it, you're in it, and you're doing your best and you think that you're producing the best. It's not always how it works out. So I think just being able to have a reliable, honest, trustworthy, experienced person to call you on your is probably one of the key things that has made me successful in this, is having someone I can, not even just one, I have multiple people I can go to and say, what what went wrong here, what did I do, and how can I fix it, and being open to that feedback and actually fixing it. I think a lot of mentor relationships get broken when the mentor feels like you're taking advice and then actually not implementing it at all.
I
It's
agree with you.
it's
Yeah.
not rewarding to them at that point. They're giving you a lot of knowledge and experience, and if you don't take it and actually at least consider, and like if you don't do what they recommend, at least explaining to them, take the time. They took the time to give you the advice. It only makes sense to take the time and explain to them like, hey, I know you said this, I can't swing it because of this, or I'm going to try this first, and like if my way doesn't work, then I will definitely try your way. I appreciate your time. But
Mhm.
when you start just like asking, asking, asking and not doing anything about it, it breaks. And
Wow.
that's where rifts and breeds really hit, I think.
I see that in some coaching clients, right? So they will come to me with a problem and I will say, okay, so like these are your options, this, and this.
Hmm.
And then the very next call, they have the same question. And so what you're realizing is they inside still aren't making the decision and they're not taking action. And I think what that shows me, and it's a very human problem, but if you see that in yourself, you have to figure out, okay, look, why am I not taking action? What benefit am I getting out of this? Or am I trying to avoid a loss? Because the loss doesn't get cheaper or easier the longer you wait. You just
No.
do it sometimes.
Yeah.
And
No, for sure. It's a
it's
thing in
so
that, like in a
hard.
professional sense too, but
Yeah. But I'm glad you brought it up because I see so many people are like, for one, I would say not all mentors are going to be like very few mentors. It'd be very hard to find a mentor who will be good in everything. So don't be
Correct.
afraid to have a mentor for whelping and a mentor for managing your breeding dogs. Like, and there's a lot of different things to have a mentor for.
And not all those have to be breed. Not a lot of those are breed specific.
Correct.
I mean, if you have a toy breed,
Mhm.
you'd probably want a whelping mentor who's dealt with toy breeds because
Very
that's
different. Yeah.
very different than my breed.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a lot of crossover. It's the same species. They just look a little different. They're a
Right.
little tweaked.
Exactly.
But yeah, no, having different ones for different things is totally valid.
Yeah.
And also what's really nice is if you also bring something to the table. New breeders tend to be like, well, I don't know anything. Yes, you do. You've read books, right? Like you've tried to learn about this, and so you can have informed questioning when you go to them, and you can also like obviously like offer like I was thinking this. So they're not doing all the mental load work, and it's
Right.
not
Oh,
all on
that's
them.
such good advice because yes, like a lot of times we have a tendency when they get back to us to just unload every question on them, and that's very exhausting.
A lot of
It's
mental work.
yeah, it's much better to be more focused in this. Okay, I've looked at this, these are my pros and cons. What am I missing? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, and if you ask them what you're missing and then so you can actually finish and make your own decision and you're not asking them what should I do?
Yeah.
What should I do comes with the expectation that you will go do that now.
Right.
And
Yes.
that's not a given,
And
right?
sometimes
And
it's
that
just
and
making
that
a decision.
causes rifts and issues in any relationship, especially one like this.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, it's good advice. Yeah, for sure. Because you can definitely burn your bridge with your mentor. Mentor does not have to be the person you bought your dog from. Sometimes that's more of a conflict of interest than anything. But like you
Sometimes, yeah.
said, it's work for the mentor. So make it worth their time. And maybe would you even say some of those skills, if your mentor is older, would be bringing some of your tech skills if you're younger? I mean,
Yeah.
look what you've done
Build
with
them a
your
website.
dog. Right?
I'm not even joking. Like contribute something to the relationship
Yeah,
or at least send them a bottle of wine for the holidays. Like do something so that they know you're appreciative of their time and efforts on your behalf because when people aren't appreciated, they don't stick around.
it's
So,
very true. Exactly. And they'll care less about the advice they give you.
yeah,
That's
it'll be less thoughtful. It'll be less
yeah.
they won't pick up your call maybe and it'll just fizzle out and you'll be like, "Oh, we just grew apart." I'm like, "No, you were a jerk. The fizzling was done by you. You threw the pan on the fire and walked away."
Natalie, thanks so much for coming on the show. Where can people find you?
Sure. So if they have questions about my dogs and my program, my website is Apex Anatolians, which is like right there,
Yeah.
.com. It's pretty easy to find. And you can also Google Apex and like Anna and it pops up if you don't want to spell Anatolians. And contact information is all there. If you have questions about the Anatolian Club, official stuff for club business goes to president@asdca.club. And that includes like if you're interested in joining, you don't have to own an Anatolian to join, but you do have to own an Anatolian and have 2 sponsors to join with voting rights. So if you just think the Anatolian's a great breed and you want to pay us annually to support the breed club, we would love to have you. And you'll get my newsletters. Uh,
There you go.
otherwise, I'm on Facebook pretty regularly, and I'm on Instagram at Apex Anatolians. So yeah,
Perfect. All right. Well, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's just been a pleasure hearing your story and sharing your wisdom.
thank
Thanks.
you so much for having me. I hope you have a happy holiday season.
Yes, exactly. People should be eating more Christmas cookies.
Christmas cookies are the bomb. You could tell.
If you found this episode helpful, please tap that like button. It helps me better understand you and supports the channel. If you're a current or aspiring dog breeder, I'd love for you to subscribe to the channel to be notified when new videos come out. Thanks.